About T-Radar.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Issues of the day under T-Radar.
Certainly is. G'day there, T-Radar. How you doing?
Well, hey. Well, I'm doing all right, but I suddenly realised that the New Zealand's most trusted people list came out.
Oh, yeah.
And I suddenly thought, geez, I wonder if there's a chance I'm on it. And I'm slightly more trusted than Louise Nicholas, rape victim advocate.
Right. Are you actually on the list?
Less trusted than Kate Sylvester.
Ah.
I'm at number 58.
You're less trusted than a dressmaker.
Correct. And Rhys Darby, he's 52. But Marcus Lush, he only came in at 58. I'm 56.
You're really?
Oliver Driver only made 66.
So what's that say? People trust gardens more than they trust trains.
Look, I have no idea, but it's a very bizarre list.
It is. The whole trust thing is really kind of weird, isn't it?
It is, because, you have a look at a lot of people on the list, and you'd go, I reckon there's a lot of people who don't really know who those people are, and they're going, let's just sort of put them in the middle. Put them in the middle somewhere. Because that's the thing,
people have...
no one trusts you.
Well, people have seen you on the TV, and they might have heard you on the radio or something like that. We don't know. You could be the most untrustworthy person to ever existed.
Could well be just some kind of a hypocritical sycophant who's sort of, totally untrustworthy, but no. And ironically, sort of, Willie Appiata is the most trusted person.
Is he?
As someone pointed out, but his job is to sneak around
and kill people
in the dark of night and inflict serious damage on people. So I guess unless you know that, I suppose, which in a way makes them probably more trustworthy.
Comes down to what we value, I suppose, as a country.
Like pandas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so news
who knew?
Who knew? This morning, the news that John Key has been working out some sums on the back of an envelope of what it would take to trade, get a panda out of China, and whether or not we could trade them for some Kiwis.
Exactly. I had no idea, but apparently you can't buy a panda. You can only rent one. They're $1.4 million a year it costs. So they want two for the zoo in New Zealand, which is at $2.8 million. So
that's expensive.
A bit of panda, and then you've got to feed them. Next, they're the 5 times as much as an elephant to sort of keep. 3 keepers they require.
Well, apparently they are the most expensive thing to keep.
Yes. Why do they need 3 keepers? What do they do? I thought they just sat around and looked cute.
Well, obviously the keepers would have to be highly specialised with giant pandas, so no doubt they would have to come from China as well.
I guess so. Yes, they'd have their own sort of entourage, wouldn't they?
Well, that's possible because the panda are apparently very important in Chinese politics.
Right.
So you've heard of this thing called panda diplomacy?
Yeah, I've heard of gunboat diplomacy.
Well, this is kind of similar. The People's Republic of China revived panda diplomacy in the 1950s, and it's become known in recent decades for this practice. And they used to send the pandas to countries as a kind of like a political bargaining chip, or just to say, look, here we are, we're a friendly nation, have one of our pandas. But that since changed somewhat now to this rental agreement.
Isn't it weird? It's kind of like distracting a crying child with a teddy bear.
Yeah.
Rather than getting to the root source of the child's problem, you go, here's a little bear, and the kid goes, there's the bear, I've totally forgotten about what it was that I was complaining about.
Meanwhile, we'll take your farms.
Yeah, exactly. Or that, and you've got your various sort of things that go on over there in Chinatown. So, yes, but what the question of being, though, I think as you pointed out, how many Kiwis for a panda?
Good question.
At an exchange program, I would have to say it would be quite a few.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it was done on a weight ratio, I mean, pandas are pretty heavy.
Yes, but they say that pandas, the only ones in the Southern Hemisphere are the Adelaide Zoo, and they increased patronage at the zoo by 70. Oh, there we go. Increased patronage at the zoo by 70%.
Right.
So I can't imagine. I wonder how Kiwis would they increase the patronage at a Chinese zoo?
Well, you got to wonder.
Yeah.
You got to wonder. I wonder if it's such a good idea to send Kiwi because that's something that's unique to New Zealand, and it's probably a reason, perhaps maybe for some tourism here. So if the Kiwi was sitting there in China, and people were visiting that zoo there to see the Kiwi, they might choose not to visit here.
I don't know. I don't know whether people go, we could go to New Zealand and look at all the amazing stuff, or we could just go to the zoo and see a kiwi. In fact, the chances of seeing a kiwi would be just exponentially more to see one in the zoo in China than to come to New Zealand and hope to randomly spot one.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, who's ever seen one?
No, I don't.
Really?
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder if they even exist out there.
Yeah, but I wonder how much one kiwi is worth.
Well, I don't know. We could trade tobacco for it. That'll be the new currency. What's that going to be worth?
Muskets?
How many kiwis can you get for some tobacco, particularly if you were in prison and you had a kiwi?
Muskets, blankets?
Muskets, blankets, all of that. Yes. No, look, my favourite story of the week actually is getting rid of the tobacco from prisons. It's a small story for many people, particularly the non-smokers, but it's one of those wonderful things where suddenly you've got all of this seedy underbelly of prison life coming back to the fore, trading tobacco and the worth of it on the black market, and then inmates are now threatening to bash up guards and staff who remain smokers, and because they will, the currency of tobacco will go up. And then you think, imagine if you were a smoker in prison and then there was, a guard had come in from outside and had that faint aroma of smoke about him. It would drive them crazy. Psychological torture.
Wouldn't it just? The Prison Guards Association in Australia is saying that it's just not going to work. And imagine, half the prisoners are coming down off pee. Imagine trying to bring them down off nicotine as well.
Yes, well, at least they'll be, locked up in their little cells and they won't be able to run around and sort of cause any damage. But yeah, and the other thing, as they say, there's a lot of people coming through who are just there for a very short time. But it's like, well, I don't know. Personally, I'm for it. Get rid of it all. But I see, interestingly, they're not talking about getting rid of the duty-free tobacco at the airports, even with the price rise, because there's so many sort of ways that people can get around it. Never mind.
Have you caught up on the fracas between Brian Edwards and Duncan Garner of TV3?
Yes, I have. This has been going on for quite some time. Apparently, Duncan Garner and Chris Carter had an altercation at the airport involving some expletives, and then the allegation goes that when they got on the plane to go on their flight, Duncan Garner went up to Chris Carter and says, "I'm going to get you, I'm going to destroy you for Christmas." This was apparently also a tirade filled with expletives of the F nature. He's denying that happened, but they're saying that this is part of the reason why he's sort of gone out and got Chris Carter. But other people are saying, well, actually he doesn't have a sort of a vendetta against him. He has a vendetta against all politicians, and he'll go out and he'll sort of, he destroy as many of them as he can to get the next scoop, the next story. But yes, a wonderful sort of and very long and lengthy he says type thing on the interweb currently.
On brianedwards.co.nz. I was quite surprised by some of Duncan Garner's replies. They're very almost childlike kind of replies, and I was just wondering whether or not he was the genuine article and it wasn't just someone pretending to be him. Well,
that's the thing on the internet. You never really do know, do you? People can go in and pretend to be you, I suppose, but I think it pretty much is him. It's been going on, and Duncan Garner's threatening to reveal what was actually said on his TV3 website, but he's yet to sort of do that to this stage. But it's one of those things, that whole neutrality of the press, and the people get vendettas against someone else. I find it sort of endlessly fascinating in a sort of childish kind of way.
Yeah, exactly. Trolling the internet, I think it's called.
Exactly. Like at the moment in Australia, there's a guy who's facing charges potentially from the police because he put a list on Facebook of the 100 biggest sluts of Ballarat.
Oh.
Yes. They weren't happy, apparently, because, many of them probably weren't of that nature. And he's gone out and sort of named and shamed these people that he thinks were, conducting their lives in a somewhat immoral manner. So the police are now looking at sort of charges of stalking and whatnot against them. So it's a dangerous place, the internet.
It is. Keep it clean out there, T-Radar.
I will. We'll speak again next week.
Well do. That's T-Radar in Wellington today. Here is Barb.